Imagine a forest deciding to abandon the brutal laws of the jungle. The animals have agreed to adopt a new system, a utopian democracy. The core premise is simple: the majority will rule, and their very first order of business is to pass a law outlawing violence and hunting entirely. Look at the forest demographics. We have a 90. To keep eating the sheep, he only needs to change how the sheep perceive the wolves. The challenge is specific. How does a 10% predatory minority convince an overwhelming 90% majority to willingly vote to become food? Step 1 of the playbook requires stripping away every visual indicator of a threat to create an illusion of change. The wolf candidate undergoes a physical transformation. He is rebranded as a saint, adopting religious markers. He wears a holy tilak on his forehead, a string of wooden prayer beads, and chews on a single blade of grass. He must follow strict behavioral rules: never look up to meet the crowd's eyes, never show hunger, and feign deep, tearful empathy for the historical suffering of the sheep. In this system, an apology wrapped in a humble costume proves more effective than claws or teeth. But the wolf has an operational limitation. If he actually speaks to the sheep, his true nature, his aggression, or his hunger might slip out. This leads to step 2, deploying proxies. The old jackal recruits his fellow scavengers to act as the official voice of the campaign. To hide their identities as flesh-eating scavengers, these proxy jackals are dipped in bright paint, one yellow, one blue, and one green. Manipulative leaders rely on these brightly colored, seemingly independent proxies to launder their messaging and create a false sense of consensus. Each color serves a specific function. The yellow jackal operates as the campaign's pseudo-intellectual and poet. He elevates the wolf from a politician to a divine protector, constructing a cult of personality that puts the candidate above questioning. Next is the blue jackal, representing a compromised media and false leadership. He deploys a dual strategy of disinformation. He rewrites history to claim wolves only eat leftover bones, while using fear-mongering to convince the sheep they require a strong wolf to protect them.
This is the spiritual transaction the green jackal offers. He promises that voting for the wolf and enduring earthly suffering is a direct path to heavenly rewards. When intellect, media, and religion work in unison, the public is cut off from reality, trapped inside a narrative designed to hide the predator's intent. The campaign succeeds. Mesmerized by the disguises and the rhetoric, the sheep vote overwhelmingly for the saintly wolf. The election concludes, and the wolves take their seats in the new parliament. They now hold legitimate, democratic authority over the forest. In the name of protecting the sheep, the wolves pass their very first law, a state-mandated diet. The law is specific. Every wolf is entitled to a soft lamb for breakfast, a full sheep for lunch, and half a sheep for dinner to maintain the wolf's health. The electorate legally and enthusiastically voted to become prey, believing they were voting for their own safety. This story is a recurring loop in human political history. We see these same tactics play out in real elections around the world. The system's collapse wasn't a mechanical error. It was a success of manipulation over critical judgment. The electorate prioritized aesthetics over historical evidence. There is only one defense against this playbook. Voters must judge leaders strictly by their historical character and past actions, ignoring temporary costumes, sweet words, and painted proxies. A democracy is only as safe as its voters are vigilant. A wolf may change its clothes, but it never loses its hunger.